Colin.
Yeah.
What do you got for me?
Oh, I should talk to the microphone. What I wanted to do was go around the table and talk about where each of us come from, our hometowns, and then figure out, based on a list of pros and cons, which town is the best and which one is the worst.
Okay. I like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to say.
Okay.
We need a set number of pros and cons.
Okay.
3, 2 each.
I say
2 pros, 2 cons.
2 each. 2 pros, 2 cons.
Okay, 2 pros, 2 cons.
Bring your
Okay.
2 pros.
All right, well,
and then Colin, you have to decide.
Okay. Why don't you
Whose
start?
town is best? Okay.
He's gonna pick himself.
Not necessarily.
Not
Yeah,
necessarily.
bullshit.
I'm probably gonna pick you based on how I know where everyone else comes from. You probably come from you come from Long Island, for Christ's sake. That's like the coolest
They're
place.
rich.
We are rich on Long Island, except for the Moriarty family, which is not
You're
very
rich in
You're
spirit.
rich with
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
rich in love.
So tell me a little bit about your town.
So I grew up in a small town called Riverside, California. When I grew up, there was not much happening in this town. It's not a bad town. It's just it's a small place in SoCal, in the Inland Empire, the IE, as they say.
The IE?
What? It's about 40 minutes, I guess, inland of Orange County, if you're familiar with that. Anaheim, Tim, to put it in context, the things you know.
Thank you.
You can get to Disneyland in about
Disneyland,
45 minutes. Great town, very hot. It's high desert, so that's a con, right? So when it gets hot, we're talking 110, no humidity, just
nice.
dry heat.
That sounds
good.
horrible.
Dry heat's better than humidity, though.
Dry heat's better than humidity, especially if you're by a pool. Now, pro on that is you can party all night. And when I mean all night, I mean I've passed out. I'm not proud of this. I don't recommend it. I have passed out on my front driveway, which driveway is made of cement. Cement tends to get cold at night. Woke up the next day totally fine. Like, oh, this is great. A little hot, sweating. So
Did you fall asleep shadowboxing?
no, I fell asleep drinking with my brother. It was a great night. It was one of the first times we bonded when I was young. It was really cool. We were just kind of chilling out.
Is that how you bonded? Your hearts and your dicks throbbed at the same time? That's like a Miles Dyson Terminator
Is that
2
what it
reference.
is? That is. That was good.
I'm right there with you. Can't hold this thing forever. I never really understood the detonator he was holding. It was like something you had to like hold up.
He had to hold. It was a dead man switch. Are you familiar with this?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
The dead man switch is you have to keep pressure on it at all times. If someone shoots you, your hand releases it and explodes. So he was dying.
See, the way he held it, it made it look like he couldn't go down.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Terminator 2 in years.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was trying to hold it up and it had to like.
That's a
slam
really
into it.
shitty design.
Yeah.
Fucking hold this thing up like this all the time. No,
So-
thank you. You know what I'm saying?
I got you, slugger.
God, I love you.
So there's not a lot happening in my town, but it is a small town. So I would say it's small. That's a con. There's not a lot of historic things. There's the mission, which is cool, but I think a pro of it is also that it is a small town, so you know a lot of people, and you have that sort of feeling of like, you know, chances are the people you grew up with in junior high, you went to high school, to college, things like that. There's not much I can say against it or for it, truth be told, except it's home, so I go.
Here's my question: are we judging this based like you're going straight from where you're from?
Yeah.
Are you doing Long Island, New York? Am I doing Glen Ellen or Chicago?
I'm doing my hometown
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
on Long Island. And then I'll be the judge on which one is the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's
only
all.
me.
That's all I got. I mean, it's nights are great to party in. Days are terrible to the point where your air conditioning, like, unless it's on full blast before you get in, you're burning your thighs on those seats if they're leather. You're wearing flip flops and shorts year round, not because you like the style, but because you have to. You're dreading the parking lot because if you have to park too far away, it's just that walk's gonna be terrible to the mall. Terrible. But if you're having a party when your parents go out of town for 2 weeks and you want to party all night, it's awesome. It's a great place. Pool parties are great.
It's like Aaron's party.
Aaron's party from what?
Aaron Carter's first single.
Jesus
Come on, Nick.
Christ. No, I'm him, not you.
I was like, did you
You're
get that
allowed
reference?
not to get that reference. I'm more insulted by that. BTW, spoilers for Once Upon a Time. Did you see what I was telling? I said.
Oh, yes. Oh, God, yes.
Are you ready?
Oh,
Who do you want them to cast?
first off, I just wish the show didn't suck complete ass.
Yeah.
Like, I
Once
really
Upon- Once
want
Upon a
to like
Time?
it. Yeah.
This is the show with like Cinderella
It's
and
with
Snow White and all
Disney
that.
princesses.
Did you see the finale?
Nick.
The clip made its way around the internet.
I didn't see
In the
it.
very
Season
final,
finale. It
the
just
very
ends.
Go ahead.
Just tell me. I'm not going to watch the show. Hey,
You just see
spoilers.
this girl.
Pause if you don't like this.
And, like, the camera's all going around her and stuff. Her hand just goes out and just ice just coming from it.
You're kidding me.
Camera goes back. It's just
She's got her
Elsa
little
doing
cape,
the
she's
strut.
got her hair, and she's doing the strut.
Everything.
out.
Oh, so
On Once
good.
Upon a Time?
Yeah, so
Wow.
Elsa's in next season.
So excited.
So Tim's ready.
That's really fast. I don't think she's new enough to be. I'm just joking. That's awesome.
I'm happy for you.
All
She's
right.
real, guys.
So what were your 2 pros and your 2
Tim,
cons?
let it go.
Yeah, 2 pros.
2 pros. So, 2 pros. It's a great place to party. Small town feel. Con, way too hot, and there's just nothing going on. It's just like literally when I lived there, I worked in this little center where there was a Starbucks, and we were all like, "Holy crap, it's a Starbucks!" And then they opened another Starbucks in that center, right across the parking lot, because they were like, "We got nothing else to open here, and Starbucks is the only thing people care about in Riverside." That was a long time ago. Also, it's the meth capital of like
Wyoming,
of the Inland Empire,
Southern California. A lot of meth being made in there, in between there and San Bernardino. At least when I was living there. Heisenberg came from there. That's where they Breaking Bad true story started at that Starbucks.
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't know that.
At the Mission Inn.
All right, mine's Glen Ellen, Illinois.
Yeah, Glen Ellen.
Glen Ellen, suburb of Chicago. Glen Ellen.
So when you say it's a suburb of Chicago, is it like Queens to Manhattan?
Don't know. I don't understand the reference.
Is it?
This is the problem. I mean, you can get down to. I mean, like depending on the time of day.
How long does it take to get to Chicago by car or by train if you had to go? Do you take the train or car to there?
I mean, the problem is when I was growing up, we never went downtown to Chicago, and then when we come back and I'm totally spread around. 30 minutes, we'll say by car.
Okay.
So is it legitimately?
That's a legit suburb.
So is it a suburb of Chicago, like Daly City would be a suburb of San Francisco, or is it just a suburb? Like, do people associate Glen Ellen with Chicago in any way, or is it just its own?
You are
town?
Chicagoland. You are
Okay.
the western suburbs.
Okay, so it is a suburb.
Everybody,
a legit suburb.
yeah, it's one of those things. When I went to
Like South San Francisco is not technically San Francisco, right? But it is it's associated with it, as is Daly City and those kind of outlier areas.
Right, like Queens to Manhattan.
It's one of those things. There wasn't much other than like the Bears and sporting teams, Chicago pride or whatever. I never identified myself as a Chicago resident.
Bears.
Bears. Until I went to school, and then people at school would be like, "Oh, where are you from?" Like, I'm from Glen Ellen. They don't know where that is. Where's that? Oh, it's Chicago. And so you just start saying Chicago because that's shorthand.
I had to say Orange County. Everyone's like, "Where are you from?" Like Riverside, and they go, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "Orange County," and they're like, "Oh, that's cool." The OC.
Yeah. Best thing that ever happened to your life. I bet that show.
Phantom Planet, bro.
Oh my God, so good. Jesse Schwartzman
was good. That show was good.
I like the guy who's now in Nashville, but that's a story for a different time.
He's having a good story arc right now.
He's one of the best parts of that show, and he's one of the best songs. All his songs are amazing.
Can you guys give me 1 second?
Sure.
Can you believe where they're going with Hayden Panese's character?
No, I cannot do it.
Hate
I was visibly angry.
Hate it. Don't want to watch the show when she's on it now.
We're missing the finale right now because we're doing this dumb show.
Bye.
You should go watch Once Upon a Time instead.
We're also missing the Arrow finale. If anybody.
Oh, Arrow's actually pretty good. Sorry, continue, Greg. So you had to tell people you were from Chicago.
Sure, it's not had. It's just easier. You don't want to
Makes
keep
sense.
explaining it. So it's a legit suburb. Yes, it's further away than Daly City.
Okay.
Daly City's way quicker to get in here than
Okay.
that is. But that's also, I think San Francisco's in the Bay Area is way more compact than Chicagoland.
It is.
Chicagoland extends in all
Hold on.
directions forever.
You keep saying Chicagoland.
It's a thing.
That's a thing.
Real term. Because like, how else are you gonna describe it? I mean, you're on the suburbs of Chicago. I mean, like Chicagoland just sums it up.
Chicago
Like Portillo,
area?
that's also used a lot. But like Portillo describes itself as being all throughout Chicagoland. A lot of places do that.
It makes it sound so much funner.
Like Disneyland?
It does.
Yeah.
No, it does.
Like
I
you
agree
go
with
and
that
everything's a
100%.
ride that you have to wait in line for, but it's awesome.
So, for Glen Ellen, pros. Number one, food. You have your... now, again, I guess this is where it also gets dicey. Technically, there isn't a Portillo's in Glen Ellen. There's one in Glendale Heights.
Doesn't count.
Oh, that
Doesn't
sucks.
count. Sorry, doesn't count.
Because I was unincorporated Glen Ellen. I could walk to the Portillo's in Glendale Heights. Doesn't count? Okay.
No.
Fuck.
Keep going.
I'm still going to say food. You got Giordano's. You've had pizza similar to that. It's a pie cheese style pie. You also have Baroni's, another awesome pizza place. This one's thin crust, similar to your New York style. Baroni's.
Like
Bar ones spelled out BARONE.
oh, they're saying bronies.
No, not
Like
Baroni's.
the My Little
Pony
Baroni's.
people. Yeah,
Baroni's. Not. It was before Bronies was the thing. Baroni's. You had Alfie's, great hamburger shack. You would have loved that fucking place, Colin. Let me tell you what. I assume these places are still standing. Who the fuck knows? But that food, I'm putting that on the radar. Then the next pro, I guess, would be your proximity to Chicago. You're close to the city. You can get in and get out of it when you want to go. You want to go to the Field Museum. You want to go to a Bears game. You get down there. You get back. My dad, you're talking about it being a true suburb. My dad usually is working jobs in Chicago, commuting back and forth, not hating his life too much. Of course, my dad doesn't hate his life no matter what. One of those people who are always super happy. Shut up, Dad. Be upset about something. Will you? Cons. The weather for sure. Boiling hot summers, freezing cold winters. You know what I mean? Like crazy amounts of snow, ice storms everywhere. You can't go. Then you got the summer in the Chicago suburbs. Good Lord, the humidity mixed with the heat, no good. No, thank you. And then I guess this is similar to Nick's thing, just the amount of things going on, right? Like being a suburb of Chicago, and like the first girlfriend I ever brought home from Missouri, right? I guess we flew in the first time we did for some reason. I forget why. And we got picked up and we're driving. And she just was like, I can't believe how it keeps going on. Like, it just doesn't end. It's sprawl. The fact that it's so spread out means, like, in Glen Ellen proper, there's not, like, I was never like, let's go hang out downtown Glen Ellen. You know what I mean? Like, that's something you did in your half days when you got out of grade school or whatever. You're like, we don't have cars. We can't drive. We're kids. You go do that. Like, there's the 4th of July boat regatta. That's a big, the cardboard boat regatta in Lake Ellen where they all make these stupid boats and try to see if they can get to this course or whatever. Nobody can.
Stuart Little, I think they did that.
Did they?
I think so.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's kind of like, like there's not many attractions downtown. You know what I mean? You go downtown, and for us, it was always, there was a baseball card shop when we were there. There was an Earth Day store. A bunch of fucking shitty ass necklaces and wallets made out of bad tires, right?
An Earth Day store.
Totally. This is a big '90s movement, the reuse, reuse, recycle, and reduce, reuse, recycle. So they had one of those things. There was a nice pizza place there by the Slice. But I mean, like, again, it's just like, it's like Main Street USA, super hollow. It's not like you ever went down there. This is like what Walmart and Amazon fucking feast on. These little stupid stores. Like, I'll get you a pair of shoes in a year. Fuck off. So that's me. Okay. Those are my 2 pros, 2 cons.
Mine is Brookhaven, New York. This is a town on Long Island, and I often talk about Long Island, but I don't talk about my town of Brookhaven. Brookhaven is a hamlet, and which means that it's a pretty large piece of land, a large area, and there's a township, and then the hamlet, which is the greater area of it. The beauty of being on Long Island is that, and I've always felt this way, and I've always explained it to people, like, whenever you're in a different part of the United States, right? People can be going from one place to another and maybe passing through your town, right? Sure. In San Francisco, maybe someone's going to Portland. If you're in Glen Ellen, maybe someone's going to Indianapolis, right? If you're on Long Island, you're on Long Island, and you're there because you want to be.
You didn't take a boat and you hit Long Island. You're like going through Long Island, you take a boat on the other side, go somewhere else.
There's literally no reason to go to Long Island. In fact, you have to go out of your way to go to Long Island. Instead, if you're in the city, you go up to go to Westchester and White Plains, and then New England. You go south to go to New Jersey. You go, kind of northwest to go to upstate New York, and then you go east if you want to go to Long Island. And if you go to Long Island, there's no way you can get to anywhere else, except for if you take ferries to go to Connecticut, and that's basically it. So I always really like that, to explain that about Long Island, is that it's just a place where, like, there's tourists out east in the Hamptons.
We're going to the Hamptons.
But otherwise, Long Island is basically just people that live there.
Right.
And so I've always really liked that. Like, so
I always have this concept that Long Island is just a bunch of, like, really cool houses, but no one works in Long Island. Like, they all go to the big city to work, and then they come back and they live in Long Island.
Yeah, Long Island's Long Island does have industry. It has a big computer industry, Computer Associates, which is the billionaire that owns the Islanders and all that kind of stuff. And but a lot of it is basically service and construction of things that are going on in Long Island for money from New York City.
Right.
That's the way it always is. My dad worked in New York City. So the pros of Long Island are generally are the beaches. You're never more than about 6.5 miles from a beach, no matter where you are in the city in Long Island.
How many, I guess, months can you actually go on the beach? You would say?
From like May to September.
And is it good beach or is it like pebbly?
There's some excellent beaches and there's some pebbly beaches. Depends on
is there any surf or you just get in the water?
You can surf. You can get in the water too. It depends on what side you're on. The North Shore is Long Island Sound, and that's the Long Island Sound is between Connecticut and Long Island. And you can see Connecticut in a clear day or whatever. It's out there. And then
clear as day.
Depending on what part of the island you're on. If you're out more Nassau, where the angle's shorter. And then on the south side, on the South Shore is the ocean. And what's ironic, much like San Francisco, where the ocean is the cheaper part to live in, the South Shore is the cheaper part to live in. People want to live on the Sound. So I was born in Port Jefferson on the Sound, but I actually lived in Brookhaven, which is right on the ocean.
Got it.
So I would say my town, the pros would be the food. I would definitely say the food. And this is going to be a subjective kind of thing because it depends on what you like. I think New York pizza is better than Chicago-style pizza. Our Chinese food in Szechuan is amazing. Etc. and so on. We have a Heroes, H-E-R-O.
Okay.
Yes, which are subs, hot subs. So we have all those kinds of things. And I would say that the second pro of Brookhaven is nature. Now, Long Island is way overcrowded.
All the deers.
Way,
You love
way,
deers.
way overcrowded. And when people say on Long Island,
Just deer.
people use the term out east on Long Island, just like we use the word upstate in New York to describe everything that's above Long Island in New York City. What?
Greg just corrected my grammar.
You got all them deers? What's going on with the deers over
the
there?
deers?
I meant all the women that you called deer.
Oh, okay.
You did not.
So we have this saying on Long Island split into Nassau, well, it's split into Brooklyn, Queens, and then Nassau and then Suffolk. And Nassau and Suffolk are really considered Long Island.
Okay.
The other two are part of New York City, but they're on Long Island. And Nassau's really really ridiculously there's not it is a fucking shit show out there because everyone from the city moves to Nassau and they work in the city and it's just one huge suburb. But when you start going out east, as we say to Suffolk, where I'm from, you start to see a little more nature. And the further east you go, the more that's when you actually start running into legit farms and shit like that. And I live right on the cusp of if
How
you
long
go
is this island?
Long Island's
it's long.
It's long. It's a long.
This has been the Game Over Greggy show.
I think it's 150 miles long.
Okay, so it's a big island.
Yeah. So when you start going I'm on the cusp where on one side of us is basically overgrown suburbs, on the other side is where it starts to get a little more naturey and there are trails and forests. We have huge pine forests and stuff out east, and then on the other side of those farms and the forests are the Hamptons, and that's where all the super rich people.
The rich people party.
So I would say that, so we have that cool stuff. I worked at a place called Post Morrow Foundation when I was younger, which was a land preserve on Long Island. And we used to clean up trails and do all that kind of stuff. So that was cool. So I would say the pros of Brookhaven are the food and the nature, which you don't get in a lot of other places. Brookhaven's beautiful for that. The cons are as such. You live in the shadow of the biggest city in the United States and probably arguably the greatest city in the world.
Yeah.
Now, this is a pro in many ways, but also a con in some ways because everyone's
demoralizing.
obsessed with going to the city.
Right.
All of the time.
Right.
When you're a kid. You want to go to the city? Let's go to the city and see a play. Let's go to the city and see a Rangers game. You want to go to the city and see a Yankees game? You want to go to the city and have some dinner? Enough with the fucking city.
Right.
We're from Long Island.
Right.
We don't give a fuck about the city.
We don't care.
So that's number one. Number two, the other con is the weather. And the weather is different because we have the muggy bullshit summers and moderately bad winters, but not so bad because it's mitigated by the water, so we actually get a lot more rain than we do snow. But we get really bad. We get hit really bad with two things. Once in a while, we get slammed by hurricanes, as we did with Sandy, which destroyed parts of Long Island and parts of New Jersey where my beach house is, which we're rebuilding.
Your
I just saw
beach
pictures.
house.
I want to go to your
Correction,
beach house.
my parents' beach house.
Right.
All those
I wanna
Sony
party.
checks are
I
finally
want to
going
drink.
somewhere.
I want to drink Bud Light on ice at your parents'
Damn
beach
it! I was
house.
supposed to bring the Coors Light today and drink that on ice with you.
Oh my
God.
Next time.
Listen to the podcast last week that I wasn't on the plane at Kara's house. Her brother comes out drinking beer with ice.
No.
She starts giving him so much
Catching
shit.
on.
And I
It's
was like,
catching
oh,
on.
I heard in this popular, web series, and that's the cool thing to do. And then it was later, she's like, wait, where the fuck did you hear that? And I was like, it was my friends. It was
It's so gross. So yeah, I would just say that the weather is the negative, but because of the hot, it's really disgusting in the summer. But the hurricanes can get dangerous. We've had some bad hurricanes. Sometimes we go a couple years without getting hit by any, and we also get nor'easters, and we get fucking destroyed by nor'easters.
What is
What
a
is a
what is the
nor'easter?
nor'easter?
Nor'easters are storms that. All right, so we have a west to east paradigm with weather. The jet streams kind of bring weather from California to New York, right?
Right.
There's something called the lake effect.
Yeah.
Which happens
like Streisand effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Similar.
Which happens, I think in Michigan and all those places, but it also happens
in
over
Chicago.
but it happens also over Erie, Lake Erie, up in Buffalo, where Clements is from. That's why Buffalo and Oswego and Rochester and all those towns up in northern New York get fucking destroyed by snow. Like you've never seen or heard anything like the way they get snow up there. It's unbelievable. And every once in a while, that shit makes its way down from Canada, from a cold front, to Washington and Long Island and New Jersey and New England and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they're just these storms that come out of nowhere and just destroy you. And they
Okay.
happen in the winter usually, and they just bring tons of snow. They're just totally random. Just totally just bizarre, very northeastern only storms that are totally based on all sorts of weird weather fronts.
See,
and
I'm
things
so
that
glad I've never had it. I could not, I have a sister-in-law and brother-in-law that live up in Tahoe, and lately it's been okay, but when it snows, I'm like, I can't imagine trying to function in the snow. It sounds like even just going to the store is a chore. It's just too hard. I don't know. Sorry.
It is. No, that's all correct.
Yeah.
That's how
And
the
that
snow
sounds really bad.
Noisters?
Nor'easters.
Nor'easters.
NOR''EASTER.
I like oysters.
I mean, yeah, for some reason I had this.
Oh,
image
avoid
of-
the oysters.
So you
like
live
a Nordic oyster.
So Colin, your 2 pros are good food,
Mm-hmm.
and you live near the city. No,
No,
good
that's-
food
That was me.
and nature.
Nature, right?
And then cons are you live in the shadow of the greatest city in this
Which makes
world.
people forget why they're on Long Island.
Right. So it's basically like you can't live in the city. You maybe start feeling like, well, we can't live in the city, so we'll live there, but wish we could live in
Right.
the city. And you have to deal with hellstorms of snow that freeze people. I
Fucking
imagine,
day
by the way,
after tomorrow
a
kind
day
of
after
shit.
tomorrow, where if you're outside, it freezes you solid.
The weather's just whacked out.
Okay.
Generally, the weather's just no matter what time of year. Like
See-
it's not very rarely comfortable.
I'm liking yours so far. I still think you might be the ultimate winner of this because you still can get on a train real quickly and go to the greatest city,
And it's
Oh,
cheap,
whenever
too,
you
right?
want.
and it's cheap.
What, cheap to go
and
to
it's
the city?
and if you say I'm from
For
Long
trains.
Island,
Oh yeah, it's like $12 to go from where I am to right to Penn Station.
but if you say I'm from Long Island, people instantly recognize that, and if they don't, they're dumb. They should recognize it, right? Because it's a very noteworthy city to be from, and it sounds like it makes you sound like you're the kind of person people shouldn't screw with. Because I've never met a person from Long Island that was like a pushover. Most people from I know from Long Island, and I only know 2, you and my friend John McNally.
And Alex Solomita.
And Alex will admit it. Well, Alex is kind of a pushover, so there goes that. But you guys are tough. You're like you have that sort of bravado, that Long Island sort of like, don't mess with me. I'm from Long Island, which I think is cool.
I think what's unique about Long Island and why I love it so much, and I always talk about it, and I talk about it more as a joke at this point, to be like, oh, everything that's from Long Island is great whenever there's a band from
The
Long Island.
pride of Long Island.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of do it more as a joke, but we have like a lot of pride on Long Island. Like I don't think there's a serious state secession movement on Long Island. There's like a serious like attempt to make Long Island its own state, and we don't. A lot of us don't consider ourselves New Yorkers. We consider ourselves Long Islanders, or Islanders, and so it's not uncommon for someone. At least I know a lot of people from Long Island because I grew up there. But also when I go to college, meet other people from other parts of Long Island. You meet them, they never say they're from New York.
Yeah.
And you don't often hear that from a lot of other people. I'm from Illinois. Or I'm from.
But
like,
you would say if you live in Brooklyn, you'd say you're from New York, right?
Yeah, or I'm from.
And then
Brooklyn.
people are like, where in New York do you live? And you'd be like, I live in Brooklyn or Queens.
Yeah, or the city. You can say
Right.
the city. I mean,
Okay.
that's technically right.
See, it seems like more times, anytime you talk to somebody from New York, they're like, I live in Brooklyn. Or where do you live? I live in Brooklyn. I live in Chicago, right? It was what I would say if I was still in Glen Ellen and I was visiting somewhere. But I
don't know. I think
I don't
people-
know. I guess that's bullshit. Because if I was in Naperville and at a bar and they're like, "Where do you live?" I'd say Glen Ellen. I wouldn't say Chicago because people would understand what that means.
Yeah, well, no, most New York people though. I think New York.
They
is
say
such
New
a-
York. I think-
no. Most people I've met, I think New York's such a big deal that even if you're not from there, you know Manhattan, you know Brooklyn, you know.
I know,
Yeah, but if
I mean,
you're
it's
in
one of those
Europe,
things,
you
like, this
go,
is
I'm
one-
from New York, right?
If you're, I've never met someone from Brooklyn that hasn't told me they're from Brooklyn.
Originally, or do they go, I'm from New York, and they're like, Brooklyn? Like, every time I've
See,
ever
here's
met from
one
back
of-
east, they go, I'm from New York.
This is one
Where
of my
in New York?
only
Brooklyn.
problems with New York is that I think the New York area, and it's similar to what you brought up a second ago, right? When you're like, when I was talking about Chicago or to whatever, you were like, is it like Queens to whatever? And I'm like, I don't understand that, but I feel like most New Yorkers feel like everyone would.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you've seen Saturday Night Live? I live in Brooklyn. I'm like, you could show me a map and say fill in Brooklyn. I'd be like, I don't know where fucking Brooklyn is. You know what I mean?
Brooklyn's the western tip of Long Island.
Okay.
And then next to it is Queens. The island in the middle of the water is Manhattan. Then, the Bronx and Staten Island, and then New Jersey on the south.
Dude, is Staten Island cool?
No.
So no
Not
one,
at all.
No
There's a
one cool
ferry.
lives there.
There's a lot of money on Staten Island. Staten Island, like New Jersey, gets a lot of shit. New Jersey's awesome. Like, I love New Jersey.
Yeah.
Ton of money there. Ton of beautiful beaches there. Really cool place. It gets a
Snooki.
lot of shit. But the interesting thing about Long Island is, like, so the other thing you meet when you, like, all right, I'm from Long Island. Usually 95% of the time it ends. It's like, okay, cool. Then the people that know Long Island or been to Long Island or from Long Island, this is the way the conversation goes. Oh, you're from Long Island? What part? I'm from Suffolk. Oh, what part? I'm from the South Shore. Oh, what part? Brookhaven. That's usually the way. It goes. And
Boil down.
because then it could end somewhere in there. Oh, I'm from Suffolk. Oh, okay, I'm from Nassau. Oh, I'm from Suffolk. Oh, what part? South Shore. Oh, I'm from the North Shore. And then it ends there or whatever. Like, so. There's a whole cadence. There's a whole conversation.
I like that.
right.
I like that. See, if people go, where are you from? I go, Southern California. And they go, where? And I go, Riverside. And they go, oh.
I usually go,
Sorry.
your mom. And they go, where? Like her anus.
Oh,
And I'm like, I'm a proctologist.
So
Oh.
Tim, tell
Here's
me
my
about
card.
Amateur, but here's
tell me
my card.
about your hometown.
So I'm from here, San Francisco, and that's interesting to me because one of my pros is what one of your cons is. I am from the city. I am not one of the people that is on the outsides.
Yeah.
That's like, because then it's the opposite thing. Where there's this weird sense of pride. I don't really get prideful about these things. I'm not into sports, so I don't have that sense of like I belong to this thing. But for some reason, I do care about that. And it's like, it's so stupid. I know it's dumb because like, it's not like I've added anything to this city at all. But when I hear people and they're like, I'm from San Francisco, I'm instantly like, no, you're not. Like, I know. I'm like, you're not. You're from Oakland, or you're from Daly City.
Right.
Or whatever. It's like, you're not from San Francisco. And it hits me. And then I'm like, why do I give a shit? Why am I being like,
because
there
is. I mean, San Francisco is one of those few cities in the United States that is world renowned. It is no matter where you go in this world, if someone says, where are you from? You don't have to tell them the United States. You can say San Francisco, and people go, oh, I love San Francisco. I've always wanted to go there. Same with New York. Same with Chicago, right? Not so much Riverside. Riverside's not necessarily known amongst all the parts of the world. But there is sort of a pride, I would imagine, that comes with it. I'm saying, look, no, this is my birthright. I was born there. I lived there. I went to high school there, junior high, grade school, all these things, college as well. You do everything in the city, and so you should be like, hey, don't try to hail from something. Don't try to pretend like you're cooler than you're not.
There's something. I mean, like I remember when I was moving out here for the job, and I originally lived in South San Francisco with Micah for 9 months, and then I moved to Burlingame, and then it was a big deal when I finally moved to San Francisco. I had a San Francisco address. You know what I mean? Like, because it's the same thing as like, oh, where are you from? I'm from Chicago. And I'm really from Glen Ellen. It's the same thing of like, oh, where you're moving to San Francisco? And it's like, yeah. And I didn't live in San Francisco, and IGN at the time wasn't in San Francisco. So it was like, no, but that's the easiest way to, I'm moving to Brisbane, Australia. No. IG, you know what I mean? Like, it's this weird thing.
Also, for me, it's now that I live in San Francisco. Now, taking out the concept of where you're from, but like when people say, where do you live, or where are you from? I associate that with where you currently live. There is a point of pride for me to say I live and work and exist and can sustain a lifestyle in San Francisco. Now, I'm not a wealthy man by any stretch of the imagination, or I probably wouldn't be doing this podcast.
Oh,
I love you guys. I'd do this podcast no matter what. If I had the lottery, I'm doing this every week. But Portillo's going to be a diamond-studded dog. It looks, by the way, on camera that I'm just grabbing your bulge.
Maybe you are. Either way, you're grabbing my wiener.
But
GameOverGreggy show, everybody. We'll see you next week.
San Francisco is it's the most expensive city in the United States to live in right now. So there is sort of it sort of proves to me when I say it, I'm saying, look, I work really, really hard in life. That's what I'm saying. So when people say, oh, I'm from San Francisco, and they're from an area that's super cheap to live in, and they don't do anything in the city other than to come here and party at the comic club with me every once in a while, and then like throw up on the sidewalk and go home. Like I can see how you could be insulted by that.
Yeah, and see what's interesting there is like I currently live in Daly City and I have this like hate about it where I'm just like, I'm from SF. Like if anyone's would ever ask me, and it's like I feel like it's one of those things with, this is a really random analogy, but with gamer girls that like get shit. It's like if people give you shit for playing games, if you need to fight it, like if you feel the need to fight it, it's like just don't do that. Like if you know it, fuck them. Who gives a shit, right? Like you shouldn't have to fight for your cred. And it's like I feel that way.
Fight for
about
your cred.
I feel that way about this, where it's just like if someone asks me where you're from, I'm gonna say San Francisco, and I'm like, I don't need to fight for it. I don't need to be like, well, I live here now, but I used to live. I'll just be like, I'm from San Francisco. Period.
Right.
And like it's always interesting to meet people and like just instantly know, like if anyone calls it Frisco, they're not from San Francisco. Yeah. Like there's
you said that to me the first time we talked. I was like, yeah, Love doesn't live in Frisco, and you're like, you're not from here.
Yeah, it's just it's like, funny because like there's these things, these tells where you're just like, oh God. Like that just makes me not like you.
Yeah,
and it's just like I don't know.
He doesn't like you.
Why do I not like you? Like that's crazy to me that there's something.
So when you see someone wearing a collared shirt
way.
and a vest, like a Patagonia vest, you instantly like want to hang out with them and be their friends, because that's super San Francisco.
Yeah.
Twitter.
Oh, well, see, that's the other thing about San Francisco. That's one of the pros. Well, to finish my first.
So what are your two pros? You live in the city. It's a badass city.
It's just this pride of the city, and there's so much to be prideful of. In so many different ways, and like
I'm watching the dog.
What's he doing?
He's looking at the trash can. I want to make sure I don't leave anything in there.
Okay.
And all the different cultures and all that stuff, and it's like the easy stuff that you would assume about San Francisco. But to me, I guess I take it for granted because this is what life is to me.
Right.
Where I'm just like everybody should like each other, and everyone should just get along. There shouldn't be all these problems. Gays are cool. Like whatever race you are, that's cool. All the shit's cool. And I'm just like, that's cool. That's how I think shit should be. So I like that, And it's one of those things where I'm hella Bay Area. Like
hella, by saying hella,
there you
prove that you're Bay
And
Area.
So your two cons, your two pros are you're from an awesome city, and what was the second one?
Well, that was the first one.
That was the first one.
Damn, I totally forgot what the second one was. I mean, there's a lot of things. I'm Gordos. I'm just gonna go with Gordos.
All right, good food.
Burritos.
Yeah.
Okay, what are the cons? And I want to hear the cons. That's why I'm spitting you along, because I want to hear what your cons are from being from San Francisco.
I mean, there's a lot of cons. But I think the biggest con I've ever had with the city is that because it is what it is, it lacks a lot of things that I would want. A lot of them are stupid. But I remember growing up, there wasn't many McDonald's around. Like, there was a lot of Burger Kings, there's a lot of this other stuff, but it's like the McDonald's were hard to get to. And I'm just like, that sucks. I want them more easily accessible. And there's a lot of these chains that we just don't have. And it's because of there's all these weird rules about San Francisco and like things aren't allowed to be in certain places, and like it's the hippies that are just like taking over, and they're just like, we can't let them take our land.
You don't know Walmart.
Yeah, we don't have. So that's the thing. Until recently in Texas, I've never been to a Walmart. And there was no Target in San Francisco.
Yeah, we have
until
a city Target now.
Until last
a year ago. Yeah.
Get that.
But things like that were just crazy, where it's just like to be able to go do these things. There was certain little things, like Target is so important.
It's very useful.
So important.
God,
and it's
very
just
useful.
like before it was just Walgreens. Like you just had to go to Walgreens. And
Walgreens
things
is
like
the
that
worst.
sucked. Like it's just, and there's the biggest problem is no Disneyland. Like that's
So
fucked
no
up.
di-
no matter like
Okay.
yeah.
All right. It's not.
What the hell?
Okay. So no Disneyland and not enough McDonald's, both arguably very important. Your cons were horrible storms that if you're just anywhere close to them within a 30-mile radius, will freeze you where you stand.
Right.
Or blow you the fuck
And
away.
you live in the shadow of the best city on the planet.
Yeah.
Greg?
I said my cons were the weather as well, boiling hot summers, freezing cold winters, and then the fact that it was similar to you, nothing really to do in Glen Ellen. Glen Ellen isn't like party central.
Okay. And mine, yeah, horrible weather and, well, really hot weather and nothing to do.
Real
So-
quick though, like going back to my point about San Francisco.
Yeah.
When you brought up the vest and stuff, San Francisco is known for so many different things, and I think that's really cool because it's like people when you think San Francisco, you have an image in your head of who is a San Franciscan.
And
you think of these.
Here's my
things.
question: since you don't know the perception of San Francisco outside of San Francisco, I went back to Missouri this weekend, like I said in the beginning of the show, right?
Uh-huh.
One of my friends was like, oh yeah, you know, we'd gone through a few years ago, we liked it, it was a nice town, but I was surprised there wasn't more blank. What fill it in? What do you think there wasn't?
Gays.
No,
Really?
no,
Really?
Rice-A-Roni.
Oh, the San Francisco
Because
tree.
like that's like the first fucking thing that's beat into your head, at least when you're like TGIF
TGIF,
commercials.
oh,
Yeah.
I think it's funny, like San Francisco, like to me, I knew it
San
coming
Francisco
here, and then
tree.
I kind of realized it when I leave. The perception of San Francisco in many places is actually really negative.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of bothers me a little bit because like San Francisco is my adopted hometown these days, or whatever, and I'm sure I won't be here forever, but it's like kind of a parody to a lot of people, especially a lot of conservative people probably in the middle of the country about. It's like it's the hallmark of everything that they think is wrong.
Exactly.
And
That's
to me,
awesome.
like I think it's a hallmark of some of the things that are wrong, like the hyper financial liberalism and all this kind of shit. But I also think that San Francisco has been on the cutting edge and the cusp of very important things with social justice, with
Tech?
with technology, and you know, and the rights of, like you said, gay people and all these things. And it's a very diverse city, although very diverse in a different way than the diversity I knew growing up. You know, like I've always been fascinated, like diversity. Like I went to a high school where we had a lot of, you know, white was, you know, the dominant race, but then there were a really significant amount of black people, and then a significant amount of Puerto Rican and some different, you know, Hispanic persuasions or whatever. And out here, it's very different, where it's like there's a lot of Chinese and Korean and, you know, like kind of an Asian population. And it's diverse in a very different way, in a unique way than it was the diversity that I grew up with, which I was always super fascinated by and was totally new to me. It's not that I didn't go to school with Asian people. It's just that, like, I didn't go, you know, there was a few of Asian people, you know, a few
It wasn't
Chinese
until
kids or whatever,
it wasn't until I moved here that I was in a store and I looked around. I was like, "Holy shit! I'm the only white person in this place."
That was always one of the really weird things for me growing up, and it shows how sheltered and ridiculous my life is. But it always confused me that they would call Asian people minorities.
Right.
I was like, I'm literally, there's me and one other guy in this classroom that are not Chinese.
Yeah.
Like,
It's interesting that I read an interesting stat about Daly City specifically, and I'm sure 1/5 of the population of San Francisco is Chinese, not only Asian but Chinese. So that's a significant amount of people. 1 in 5 people in San Francisco is Chinese, and that's a huge amount of people. But in Daly City, I read a stat that there are only 2 cities. Yeah, there are only 2 cities in the United States of 100,000 people or more where over half the population is Asian, and one is Honolulu and one is Daly City.
Wow.
And I always thought that was very interesting too. So it opened up, even though I came from a super diverse place like New York, and Long Island itself is very diverse too. The diversity here is different. You know, it's a different kind of diversity, a different spin on diversity.
It is. I mean, growing up in SoCal, I had a very similar thing, right? It was white people, black people, and Mexican people. And so coming up here, well, actually one of the culture shocks was that there isn't a strong Mexican population up here. So I thought, there is, but not nearly as much as growing up in like Orange County or Riverside, where you're closer to the border. So that for me was like, that was one of those interesting, like, I'm like, huh. Like I always thought I lived in not a very multicultural society, but coming up here and not seeing sort of that sort of mix, I was like, that's weird. It was just, it was very weird for me. It was also very hard for me to adjust to San Francisco, because a lot of the reasons why you love the city is a lot of reasons why Southern Californians do not like Northern Californians. There is that rivalry, right? And so for me, it's a stupid rivalry. And of course,
they're
it's
two
completely
different
made
states,
up.
basically. I think.
But dude, life's down in SoCal is so night and day from life up here.
Yeah.
Really?
Night and day.
And it's
Like,
crazy that people outside of it just group it as California. Like,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it's totally
yeah,
different.
yeah.
Like there's a
Oh, yeah.
dividing line. Like everything that is not. I mean, Orange County, Santa Barbara, LA are all one type of lifestyle. Now, by the way, in that little divide in those three things that I just listed, like they have their own issues with each other. Like no one from Orange County cares about anyone else. If you're from Orange County, you're like whatever, right? If you're from LA, you hate people from Orange County. You're just like, I mean, this is all super generalizing for the sake of fun and argument, right? But like LA people are like, Orange County people have no culture. They're all new rich. Like they whatever, it doesn't matter. They just
well,
go
that's
to the beach all
Oakland,
day.
San Francisco.
And
Same
so
thing.
so you have those rivalries, but man, there is nothing quite like the thought process of like especially when you're in LA. If you're from LA, talk about point of pride. You'll never let anyone forget that you're from LA. Oh, I'm from LA. It's no big deal. I'm from LA. Oh, you're from San Francisco. That's great. I'm from LA.
Yeah.
It's like, what does that mean? Are you like a baller? You're a rock star or something like that, you know? But it's a totally different lifestyle. And I miss it sometimes. I really do miss it being like, there's no question you're going to wear flip-flops every day.
See, and that's the craziest thing. All the time, Kara will make fun of me, and she'll just be like, "Oh, let's go surfing, bro." And I'm like, "That's not here. You're not."
Yeah.
It
getting
would
right.
be if you were in Orange County.
But that's what I'm saying. There it is.
Yeah,
And, like,
California is so
diverse.
diverse. Like I've had multiple people come out here to visit me in San Francisco and be like, why is it so cold?
Yeah,
And I'm like, motherfucker, it's San Francisco.
Yeah, it's Northern
yeah.
California.
Like where Mark Twain used to write and talk about how fucked up the weather was
Yeah.
here. You should have paid a little closer attention in school when you're reading those poems.
I remember the first time my friends from Chicago were going to come out here and visit. The dude called and he's like, I think it's stupid, but the wife's making me call. It's totally fine to bring shorts and a t-shirt. I'm like, nope, don't
Yeah,
fucking
don't
do
do
that.
that.
Do not do that. That is not the weather here.
Yeah, San Francisco is very. Because
Right now it's 80 degrees and I'm dying.
Yeah,
It's
me
like,
too.
this is not how hot
Yeah,
it is.
it's
I wore the
it's-
chambray shirt. God,
it's unusually
sweating my
hot
balls
this
off.
weekend, and it's even if you just go into the valley and then towards San Jose or towards like wine country, man, it just radically changes. In San Francisco, like because I went to wine country this past weekend for a birthday party, man, it's like literally 25 degrees hotter there. You know, like at the
it
same
is.
time,
Oh,
of day,
yeah.
it's like, I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, you don't get that ocean like fog rolling in.
No, and
right?
we live in the Sunset, which is one of the worst, not the worst, but one of the least desirable places to live in the city because it's so far away from the center of the city.
Yeah.
But it has its advantages, like we were saying earlier, on days like today when you get that ocean breeze. Because man, it is hot as balls.
It is
so much, and on
hot
the bay right now.
in my neighborhood. I live
if
over
you're on
in
the
Marina.
bay, it's like,
Colin,
yo.
time to weigh in. Who wins?
Well, I want to do a little more democratically. So let's just go around the table real quick. Nick, who do you think gave the best pitch?
I think Tim wins, not because I think his pros are completely ridiculous, but if I grew up in a place,
pros are
I'm
good.
sorry, your cons are completely ridiculous. But I sympathize because I have dealt with a lack of Taco Bell and Del Taco up here for the last 8 years, and just having been in LA, now it's stupid, it's silly
There's
to say.
Taco Bells all over here.
There's like 2 Taco Bells in the city, and they're not easy
There's a lot
access,
of them.
and you don't drive by them at night and go into them like I did in LA last week, where I was like, I'm really tired, but I'm so hungry, and I'm in a cab. I just wish there was a place right now that served chili cheese fries that's open to, Del Taco. Can you take me through that? Took me through. I get home, I eat it. It was amazing. So I sympathize with that. But I think overall, Tim's pitch probably, just being from San Francisco, I think probably
Yeah, I feel like it's cheating
having that
too,
point of
you
pride.
guys. I mean, you've been here.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to give Tim the best, and probably it's split between us. Not the worst, but
Oh,
the least desirable
The least
places.
desirable. It's you. You're least
probably.
desirable.
Probably. Because I didn't have Chicago, right?
Exactly.
Like,
No,
if
I'm
I
not
had
even
to
meaning
drive,
like, yeah,
I had to
joke
drive
about
an hour and a half to get to LA, or an hour to get to Orange County. And if you wanted to go someplace cool in Orange County, like Disneyland, I could drive to in an hour. That's
God, you win.
that's not a win, because you drive maybe back. It took you 3 hours to get back, maybe, or it might take you 3 hours to get there, depending on traffic.
Yeah.
And by the time you got there, you got to park and all that stuff. It's the worst.
Super quick segue. I want to say something about
Segue.
side note. You mentioned Taco Bell. Recently, I started following Taco Bell on Twitter. That was a mistake. I should have done it years ago. Do you guys follow Taco Bell?
No.
Oh my god, I want to
don't-
meet whoever runs that Twitter. It's so good.
I know
don't-
they're good.
they like don't care about like the brand, like being all marketing.
Oh, their
and
brand
stuff.
that's all about like getting diarrhea and eating at fucking 2 a.m. when you're high or drunk. Yeah, I'm sure they don't give a flying fuck
Well,
about
but
it.
what I mean is like they're not all markety and stuff. Like there's just some super cool person that's just running that. I want to meet them. I want
No.
everyone tweet at them. Tell them we want that guy on the Game Over Greggy show.
No,
At
that'll
Taco Bell.
never happen.
That guy, I want him.
I not because he's too big. I'm just saying Taco Bell never show you the wizard behind the curtain. That was a
I hope it's
Wizard of
the
Oz
Chihuahua.
reference.
That'd
Greg,
be really
You
cool.
remember him? Here's the thing, is that you raise a good point. We know San Francisco, so maybe the vote is unfair. I am throwing my vote behind Colin because I wouldn't want to be a kid growing up in San Francisco. Like, San Francisco sucks if you're a kid.
What? It's awesome if you're a kid.
There's like no
Everyone
There's so
here-
many playgrounds,
Pot
dude.
everywhere.
Everyone here is a transplant.
I love playgrounds.
Everyone here is drunk and high. Like, this is not a place for children. This is a place to come and be young, and that's why everybody we know who has kids leaves. They go to the East Bay. They go
Yeah.
far away. They go back to their families because this is not a place for children. This is the airplane of cities. No fucking kids belong here. Get the fuck out.
my God.
So that's why I'm throwing it to Colin. I like the fact that obviously we're fatties. We get down on the food. I do like New York food. I don't think it's ever as cut and dry as I think every city's got great food, but New York definitely has awesome food. Long Island, I imagine, has the same amount of great food. But I like Colin's because I like the fact that they identify themselves as Long Islanders. We're from Long Island. There's a pride to that. You know what I mean? There's no pride really to
Pride
Glen
of Long
Ellen.
Island.
It was a joke when me and my friend would enter the Caps tournament back at the Antler House every year and call ourselves the DuPage County All-Stars because nobody gives a shit about DuPage County. You know what I mean? It's all about Cook County.
Yeah.
Chicago.
All right, so you're split. You're going with Colin.
No, I didn't split it all. I'm voting Colin. I'm
You're
saying
voting
why
Colin.
I didn't vote for San Francisco.
Okay,
You're the
so
worst.
it's 1-1.
Yeah.
I'm the worst. I think we
Yeah.
can all agree with that.
There
Colin?
are too many liberals in San Francisco, so I'm going to vote for myself and say that Long Island is indeed.
A better place
The
to come
best.
from. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Tim.
Tim, you're the deciding vote here.
I mean, what's your worst?
I have to go with Nick. I have to
Yeah.
go Riverside. Just
That's
because,
okay.
I mean, he sold it as being a bad place.
It's not again. I really don't want to offend anyone that's from Riverside. If you're from the Inland Empire,
Oh, I don't.
I sympathize with you.
I love that it's
It's-
called that.
there's
Sounds like it's
just
from Game of Thrones.
Not. There's just not a lot of stuff going on there. It's a
Khaleesi
suburb.
freed all the
That's it.
Scarpinos.
You know, we don't have a lot going on. It's not a bad place. I enjoy going back and visiting. I like sitting by the pool after E3. It's fun.
Tim?
But
I gotta vote for myself. I just really
All
do.
right.
So
Just
it's a split. It's a tie.
No,
if
it
you
isn't.
were New
Ladies
York,
and
I
gentlemen,
might vote for you.
You have quite the voice in this. Finally, something we need your opinions on. In the comments below, you need to sound off and say, who are you voting for? If you're listening to MP3, thanks for the $1. You got fucked in this one. But we need to go to the YouTube video. What? It's a funny joke. Everybody liked that one. You go to the YouTube video
you're
and sound
excellent
off
at marketing,
there.
Greg.
Now, here's what I want to do. And that's probably already too late. You need to upvote one comment. Tim is right or Colin is right. Or should it be... I'm not going to go through and count how many San Franciscos we got, but if we put in one that says San Francisco and one that says Long Island and everybody votes up one or the other.
That's not gonna work.
All right, fine, fuck it. Just write
Just
whatever you
write
want in the
comments. Just leave the comments.
Heads
We'll
up, we're
see.
not going to tally them. We don't give a shit.
We'll figure it out.
It doesn't really matter.